Let's stay focused here in our webinar. And I would like to start by introducing our first speaker from Alumni Belgia. So we have Ibu Prima here with us, who will present shortly what Alumni Belgia organization is doing, and also maybe give some appreciation about, as an alumni in Indonesia, what the value of a Belgian degree is coming back to Indonesia after having studied in Belgium. Ibu Prima, if I may ask, because we are running a little late because of the problems, if you can try to keep it short. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So good morning and afternoon, everyone. So a very warm welcome to all participants of the webinar, especially respected the Belgium Embassy in Jakarta and distinguished guest speakers. So it is an honor to be here on the behalf of Alumni Belgia Management Board, presenting our organization. So let's make the use of the time, which is already less than 10 minutes. So we are Alumni Belgia. So the history of the establishment of Alumni Belgia itself, so it's already started from the 2017. At the time, we have a small gathering between the alumni, Belgium alumni. And actually in 2020, we agree together with all the alumni that we want to create a Belgium alumni management and the organization. So that's actually a small history that we have. And this is actually our organization where we bring all the former students graduated from the Belgium together to maintain a connection with their schools, university, and all the fellow graduates. So we have the three big missions. Actually, in general, we want to really build the strong collaboration internally and all to the external parties. And this is actually our board members. So we have Pak Lucas, Bulani, Pak Arston, Pak Riza, and Felis, myself, and Pak Dimas, and also Prisna as board members of the Alumni Belgia. We have several events where our first event actually in 2020, where we have a big reunion of the Alumni Belgia, attended by more than 200 alumni at the time. And also we conducted several webinars with the various topics presented by the alumni itself. And we also did some collaboration with PPI Belgia in 2020. And also some collaboration with Belgium Embassy in Jakarta. So we have like a meet and greet with Alumni Belgia chapter in Jakarta. And of course, now we had this great opportunity to welcome you in the webinar study in Belgium. We also carried out some collaboration with external parties. And this is actually part of our program as a Alumni Belgia organizations. And actually, we also have some like publication and social media channel where we also disseminate information about the alumni and also the event that we have. So we have YouTube, our website also in alumnibelgia.org. And you also can follow our Instagram and Facebook. And I think this is really the most important part where we also want to have some testimony of what is actually the benefit of having a Belgium academic degree, particularly for the Indonesia job market. Because as we know that actually Belgium is really a popular destination for international students. It's already mentioned before, and also we saw the video. So it's really a melting pot where we have the international environment, and it actually created and also shaped the mindset of the alumni. So we have the global mindset where we become more open to learn and also adapt to the new culture and manage the different cultures. And as we know that also in Belgium, they speak like different languages, Dutch, French, Germany, and also English. So there is a tendency that the alumni also have like a skill and capacity to be multilingual speakers. And this is really a big, a big advantage for the Belgium alumni. And Belgium actually also provide many opportunities to learn and establish a network with many international organizations and companies during our study. And as we know that actually bilateral cooperation between Belgium and Indonesia has established in many sectors. So it also requires the alumni with different backgrounds to contribute to strengthening and developing the relation. Yeah, so I think I will stop there. Thank you so much and enjoy for the webinar today.
Thank you very much, Ibu Prima. I think it's already very nice to know for prospective students that when they come back to Indonesia, they can be part of a community that is the alumni, and also very useful to learn about the advantages of having studied in Belgium once coming back to Indonesia. So thank you very much for that. I will now introduce our second speaker. This is Mottas, who is currently studying in Belgium, but we have invited him here because he is the chair of the Indonesian Student Association in Belgium. He just got elected, I think, 2 weeks ago, so congratulations for that. And he will share about what PPI Belgia can mean for Indonesian students in Belgium, and also a little bit of insights on how Indonesian students experience student life. So Mottas, if you're there, the floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Sarah. I will just share my screen real quick and then start the presentation as well. Just to recheck, I am audible, right? Correct? All right. Yes. There we go. So very good morning and selamat sore to everyone who is currently residing in Jakarta. My name is Muta Syaputra. I'm currently the president of the PPI Belgium, the PPI Belgia, we call it in Indonesian. And then some introduction about me before we just started. So I'm currently the second year of business administration from KU Leuven Brussels campus, in bachelor to be exact, and I was taught in SMA Negeri 2 Bogor as well as the Brady Bunch International Islamic School in Cyberjaya, Malaysia, where my parents sent me to a very religious boarding school in Malaysia. So I get to know a little bit of experience from being an anak negeri as well as being an anak swasta. All right. So overview of today's topic, I will cover just quite 5 subtopics from PPI, student life in Belgium, scholarship from the Indonesian student government, the part-time job here, as well as the career opportunities right after graduating. So firstly, what is PPI, right? Or we call, but based on our bylaws, we call it the Indonesian Student in Belgium. Or so we're basically a student-led organization based in Belgium. We are the mother organization of several daughter organizations from PPI Hasselt, PPI Brussels, PPI Antwerp, PPI Liege, PPI Leuven, as well as PPI Ghent. Together, we form what we call today is PPI Belgia. So we have multiple roles actually. Firstly, as a symbol. Secondly, as a social network for all the Indonesian students to gather and meet new people and make new friends. Academic-wise, we have been doing honors and try to be the bridge between the Indonesian students here as well as the Embassy of Indonesia here in Brussels. So we have local chapters as well, consisting of the cities of PPI. We call it PPI Kota. They're more of a family type of organization whereby you can hang out with them, try to organize potluck barbecue trips to anywhere and all those things. So our upcoming activities, more or less as welcoming days. It will be on October. And from there on, we have multiple events going on and on schedule. So the student life in Belgium, it's I think I would say it's quite diverse. Firstly, especially if you live in Brussels, I heard from that it is the second most diverse city in the world, second after Dubai. So we have hundreds of nationality in the campus, and we embrace multiple cultures and language. Being as an Indonesian, whereby we are very diverse, but we speak the same language, which is Indonesian, right? But here in especially in my campus, uh, we speak multiple language, a lot, maybe hundreds, and each of us has different thoughts about something. So that creates a new whole thing about, a new atmosphere and a new arguments that otherwise would have not been there in the first place. So academic environment and expectation wise, this is a very great, I would say, news to all Indonesian students there, because you are not required to go to classes, guys. uh, so there will be no professors doing the check thing, doing the absentee thing here in Belgium. Our minimum score is 50%. If you get 50%, you are pass. And our lectures, we are more of a independent study. So I have lots of friends who do not go to classes at all for 6 months, and they still pass the course just because they are very self-disciplined and all those things as well. So housing and accommodation wise, we get a lot from student accommodation, dorm, co-living, all the way to apartments. In the big cities, the unis do not provide dorms, although there are a few. Uh, but most likely, students here live in the student accommodation, which is given by the private community. So social and recreational activities wise, we get multiple of festivals from Christmas market to Tomorrowland, the famous concert. Drinks and parties are normal. I have multiple friends who go to parties every week and still pass the exam. Networking sessions, we get multiple, and it's a lot. In the second semester, I went to maybe two networking sessions per week, and because it's there and it's a lot. And other than that, we mostly in KBRI, we get we get tennis club, we get table tennis club, and we get golf club as well. So if you are into sports, that's a plus. So scholarship from opportunities from the Indonesian governments, we get several. We get APA DP as well, the ISMA from or the Indonesian International Student Mobility Awards for the exchange students. And keep an eye of the Beasiswa Pendidikan Indonesia by the Mendikbud, because I believe in the next few years, Belgium will be one of the top destinations of the Beasiswa Pendidikan Indonesia. But currently it's not there yet. So part-time job while studying. Whoa, it's a very tough topic for this because I myself, in the second semester, I have 5 organizations under my belt. I have a job as well. I was working in a restaurant, and I'm currently working in as a barista as well in a cafe. So it's balancing work and studies. You really need to balance all those things, because managing your time here as a student in Belgium is very hard, right? Work regulations for international students wise, we get 20 hours per week max, 600 hours per year max. And in the summer, you can work up to 40 hours a week. So we get several type of part-time jobs, from internships, research assistants in the campus, retail, as well as the hospitality. But a lot of my friends, they go to the HoReCa industry, hotel, restaurants, or cafe, just because it's very easy to get one, especially if you don't speak French or Dutch, and it does not requires a lot of thinking, because we already think a lot in the university, and we just want to get something done with our hands and body, as a job. So my effective job strategies is to go to the online platforms, from the unis and networking. But more importantly, you can just circle around Brussels one day, one evening with your friends, trying to go to the restaurants or cafes and all those things and get a job. That's the chance is maybe I would say 60 to 80% higher compared to the online applying thing. So our full-time job in Belgium right after graduating, we get a lot, but I would say compared to Netherlands and the Luxembourg, our opportunities are quite a few. So yes, it is possible, but it will be hard if you do not speak French or Dutch and you are trying or you are aiming for the big corporates. So try to really look for the startups or small enterprises first and then climb it up from there. That's my one of my connection advices as well here. So the sectors in demand, most likely if you are studying STEM, well, luck is on your side and you can really look for jobs easily. Try to really network as you are a student with some potential employers, having a coffee with them, play some sports, tennis, golf maybe, and really try to get to know them personally, and then luck is on your side. And some Indonesian students who secure jobs here, they're really coming from the STEM background. So from business or social science background, we get less. However, if you speak French or Dutch, it will be way easier for you to get the job here in Belgium compared to Indonesia. 100% easier, I think. So yeah, that's a bit about PPI Belgia. So if you want to connect with us, please, we get multiple socials. If you look for us in the Google, we get websites, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those things. But two main channels that we are most active with is Instagram and email. So please hit us if you have lengthy questions that want some clarifications or you need help to connect with the embassies, all those things, please, we're more than welcome to help you all. So thank you so much. Thank you, Sarah. The floor is yours. Please.
Thank you, Mutas from PPE Belgia. I think that gave a very clear overview of how PPE Belgia can help Indonesian students integrate into student life in Belgium, and also very useful information on Indonesian scholarships, as well as how to add maybe your pocket money while you're in Belgium working a student job. But we took your advice, we heard it clearly. It's not easy to juggle your time, so you need to be aware of that. So thank you, Mutas. We will now go to the main part of our webinar. We will have two speakers that I will present together because they will give a presentation together. So we have Renilde Knevels from Study in Flanders, the educational agency of the Flemish government. And then we have Olivier Douaret from Wallonie-Bruxelles campus, which is the educational institution for the Fédération Wallonie-Bruxelles, which is basically the French-speaking Brussels and then Walloon region. So they will give a joint presentation, also explaining the differences between studying in either the Dutch-speaking or the French-speaking part of Belgium. And they will also have a few testimonies from students currently studying in Belgium. So I will just give the floor to Renilde first, and then please, I remind you that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So keep your questions till the end. You can also already put them in the chats, and we will get back to those later. So please, Renilde, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you for the previous speakers as well. I hope everybody hears me well. Yes, you have already touched upon some very interesting topics. We maybe cover more or less again, but so it only makes the message more clear. Indeed, Belgium is a great destination to study. On this picture, for example, you see the Grand Place in Brussels. I'm sitting 5 minutes walk from this place, which is a beautiful square, and I really hope you all come and visit it one day. So there we go. We speak mainly about the higher education system in Belgium, but let me see. Yes, so my next slide, short introduction on Belgium. We are, of course, it has been mentioned already, a very interesting country for innovation, to build partnerships, diversity, and we are located at the heart of Europe, as you know. It's a very small country. You see the area is 30,000 square kilometers. population 11 million, a bit more than 11 million, which is probably very, very few compared to Indonesian standards. We are a monarchy, so we have a king, and the capital is Brussels, of course. We have a video here. I'm not going to play, but it's interesting because we as Belgians usually are a bit reserved, or we don't want to explain our main qualities ourselves. But in this video, you see other people actually explaining why they work in Belgium or how they can do research in Belgium. And they are not shy to say what are the good aspects of Belgium. So that's why I really like the video. So it's a federal state, as you know, but we have already heard we have 3 language communities. The north part is a Dutch-speaking community, and the French-speaking Brussels is a bilingual capital region, and then we have a very small group of German speakers in the east of Belgium, close to Germany. We were one of the founding members of the European Union, but as it comes to higher education, education follows the language. So in terms of higher education, we have the Flemish higher education system and the French-speaking higher education system. As I said, Brussels capital region is bilingual. So in Brussels, you will find both Flemish and Francophone higher education institutions, depending on what you choose. So we have 3 types of higher education institutions. We have universities, we have universities of applied sciences and arts, or university colleges, as they are called in the Francophone part, and schools of arts. In the Flemish part, the schools of arts are integrated in the universities of applied sciences, but, well, that's a small difference. We are very famous, let's say, our system for the diversity of study programs. We offer the very thorough academic research-based programs, but we also offer more practically based, professional-oriented degrees, mainly in the university colleges or universities of applied sciences. All our higher education offer is structured in 3 cycles, as you will find in the whole European higher education area. So the first cycle is what we call the bachelor cycle. You may find as well advanced bachelors, for example, but the degree is still a bachelor degree. You will find academically oriented bachelors and more professional oriented bachelors. The degree will always say bachelor. Then the second cycle is the master cycle. There again, you will find master programs of 1 or 2 years, and also advanced master programs. And the third cycle is the PhD cycle. You don't need an advanced master to move on to the PhD. You can just do 1 bachelor of, let's say, 3 years, which is 180 credits, then a master of, let's say, 1 year, 60 credits, and move on to a PhD program. So the academic year, that's probably interesting to know when you should actually be here if you want to study. First semester starts around now. This week we have lots of academic openings. I'm going to one again this afternoon, and I went to one 2 days ago, and next week as well we have lots of academic openings. So this is the start of the year. Then typically you will your program will be organized in semesters. So you will have classes until end of December. Then you have some time to study. It says break, but it's not a time to travel home, for example. I would not recommend that. It's really a time to study and prepare for your exams in January. After your exams, then you get a week off. That's when you visit your friends or you go on a trip somewhere else around Belgium. Second semester starts then early or mid-February, classes until the end of May, and then you have exams in June. You do have 2 weeks break around Easter in April or early May. That is a real break where you could finish some work, but also, of course, have some free time. What is very interesting also to know, if you would not do well in the first exam in January of one of your subjects, we do have retake exams in August. So you can resit one of the credits maybe you need to retake. And if you pass in August, you still pass the whole year and you move on to the next year and there's no damage done. In terms of the Flemish higher education system, we have 5 research universities, so the ones offering the academic research-based programs, with approximately 160,000 students, including the PhD students. 13% in total of the Flemish higher education population is international students, and they all have excellent positions in the international rankings. If that is something you're looking at, you can check the different rankings, you will find them there. Then we also have 13 universities of applied sciences, as we call them. Some also have schools of arts integrated into them, then we call them applied sciences and arts. In total, they have 150,000 students, mainly because they usually offer only bachelor's degrees, very few master degrees, and no PhD. So it's still a big chunk of the Belgian students going to this type of institutions. As I said, they usually offer practice-based bachelor degrees. For example, internships will be compulsory. You will have much more people from the work field coming to speak in your classes, and the approach is, well, it's a bit less academic, I would say. Then the arts, they always offer master degrees, and then we also have a famous nautical sciences academy, which is very small but with very targeted programs, and based in Antwerp, which is also a big port, of course. Then in terms of tuition fees and admissions, Belgians and Europeans with European passports pay around €1,000 a year, so for the 2 semesters. For non-EU or European Economic Area students, it is between 1,000 and 8,000. I'm sorry, I cannot explain it more clearly, but every program has its price. So it's very well possible that you're looking at 2 programs in the same program in 2 different universities and they have a different price, or you're looking at 3 programs in the same university and they have a different price. So you should really check. You can find programs of 2,300 and 3,500 and 6,500. So it's really up to the program managers to set the price. Admission criteria will be quite straightforward. Of course, we will always look at your previous degree. If it's from a high school moving into a bachelor program, then international degrees, for example, IB programs, we are very familiar with. But if it's a local school, of course, we will have to check a few more things. We will always ask you proof of English proficiency, of course, to study in an English taught program. And then it could be, for example, if you want to start engineering studies, that we ask an extra GMAT test or an SAT test or something like that. We have very few entry examinations. It's very common in fine arts, and there is more like a portfolio. Also for medical studies, but medical studies are usually offered in Dutch up to a very advanced level. So I'm not sure if anybody is ready to study in Dutch. Deadlines also depend on each institution, so it's very important to check. February, March is usually the deadline period for applications, but you will find all this information on our website, studyinflanders.be. It's fully in English and it covers all these topics. If any of you would have an EU passport, then of course the deadline is also later because you don't need the time to process your visa. Then the deadline is usually the 1st of June. English taught programs I already mentioned. We have quite a few at the bachelor level, but we have many more at the master level. You can choose almost everything at the master level. Sometimes the same program is offered by different universities. Sometimes you find it in only one university. Then some advanced masters. We also have what we call postgraduate degrees. careful with this term. In many other countries, postgraduate is actually a synonym for master. In Belgium, it is not. It is a kind of different certificate, and it can have 60 study credits, which is a full year, but it can also have less credits. So sometimes we also have postgraduate degrees for people who are already graduated, who have been working for 10 years and who want to train themselves on very specific new knowledge and competences. So look carefully if you see the term postgraduate. Of course, PhDs are tailor-made, but we have a student who will give a testimonial on a PhD, so she can explain. If you want to look for a program, we have a very good program search tool on our website, studyinflanders.be. You go to programs. There you can put your level, for example, bachelor or master or field of study, and you will get all the results. And then you can click directly on the program title and land on the university website page. So you can keep on searching there. We have quite some international students who gave testimonials in videos we have on our website. They're quite interesting to see. Also, of course, to see their university and to see our cities. And we have scholarships. I think that's also very interesting for you to know. Of course, you probably know the Erasmus Plus program, which offers scholarships for joint master degrees. But we also have our own Flemish scholarship program called Mastermind Scholarship Program. In order to participate, you have to be first admitted and then pre-selected by the Flemish University. And if they then put you on their shortlist to compete in the national competition, then you can be selected after the selections. The timing is, it's around March, April that you will have to submit the application, and the results will come around the 1st of June. So it should be just enough to process your visa, then to start mid-September. Another scholarship program is VLIR UOS Scholarship. It's only for certain countries, but Indonesia is one of them, so that's the good news. The selection process is, I think, a bit earlier in the year, I think around January, but you will find all the information there on the website. And then we have very few, but some scholarships from the universities themselves. So sometimes they have one scholarship program a year for one scholarship, I mean, for one person, one student, for one specific study program. So that could also be something you could find more information with the institutions about. Where can you then find more information? We have Facebook and Instagram, where we have regularly student ambassadors taking over our account. So they then for a whole week, they can show their life in Belgium, how their classes are, but also how their life is in Belgium. We have alumni videos as well on our website under the section Meet Our Alumni, or after your studies. And then we come actually to Indonesia. It will be my first time to Indonesia, but we will participate at the European Higher Education Fair, which takes place in November. You have the website here. Later on, we come back to this at the end of this presentation. So if you want to have more information, it could be a really good idea to join us there. And then I give the floor to Olivier, who will speak for the French-speaking higher education system in Belgium.
Thank you very much, Renilde. Good afternoon, everybody. Perhaps, Renilde, perhaps you can stop sharing your screen and I can just load it so that I can just make the move of the slide myself. Thank you. I just need that the agreement to. Thank you. And I guess now you can see my screen. Yeah. I will go over now with the presentation of the academic ecosystem in the French-speaking part of Belgium. Many things has been said already, and I might be repeating some of them, but I think it's good indeed to strike the point. And you will see that despite the diversity of languages in Belgium, we still have many similarities in our institutions and the way they work. So as far as the higher education in French-speaking Belgium are concerned, we have same kind of organization like in Flanders with university colleges, University of Arts, and College of Arts. And so we start with the universities. We have 5 of them. So we have their logo displayed on the screen. So they are, as René just said, located in Wallonia, which is French-speaking part of Belgium, but also in Brussels, and we have more than 100,000 students, among which a significant amount are international students. So we have mainly 2 types of universities: comprehensive one that are encompassing all types of studies you can imagine and that are set by the Belgian law, and we have specific ones where not all the curricula can be provided, but with more specific courses dedicated to some applications. We have the universities are proposing the 3 cycles of education: the bachelor, the master, and the doctoral degrees. The higher you go or the further you go in the cycles, the higher is the amount of international students, but also international staff. And so typically in French-speaking Belgium, we start with, let's say, 25, sometimes 30, 40% of international students who are going from bachelor to master. And then when you are in doctoral studies, you are already aiming at 50%. As far as the university colleges are concerned, we have 19 of them. So they are more professionally oriented compared to universities that are more academically oriented. We are providing education to 100,000 students per year. And as mentioned, the point is to provide a degree to allow these students to integrate into professional environment. So you have here the logo of all these different schools. So you have many different topics. Most of the time, these university colleges are very focused on specific topics, but you have, I would say, journalism, social science, technical, I mean, in a specific kind of innovation. You have video games, you have, you name it. We have all these courses are actually covering all types of training that we'll be needing for the employment sector afterwards. So there is also a lot of research and innovation going on in this university colleges, and of course, when you get a master degree out of these colleges, you can reach a university if you want to pursue into doctoral studies. But again, this kind of schools are really meant for professional environment and really implementation of skills into local and environment. We also have a School of Arts. So we have 16 of them. So this School of Art are welcoming less students than the other ones, who are about like up to 1,000 students per institutions. But also in this kind of institutions, you have a huge amount of international students, and you have mainly all types of performing arts you can consider. I mean, mainly you have the broadcasting technology, classic arts, visual arts, special arts, music, and of course theater and drama, where I mean the Belgian culture is quite active. So it has been mentioned before, but probably just to remind you about the tuition fee and the admission. So in French-speaking Belgium, there are the maximum expenses you can consider for tuition fee and admissions. For EU citizen, the tuition fee cannot exceed 835 euros a year. For non-EU citizens, this can rise 2,500 euros per year for university tuition fees. If you are an Indonesian student with no EU passport, then this is it. You will have to pay 2,500 euro per year, and this amount has been recently fixed and will run until 2027. but you can be exempted for this kind of increased tuition fee if you meet with the conditions that are written here, that either you have a certificate of secondary education from the Wallonia Research Federation, or you are assigned a grant, or you are in the PhD studies, or you are involved in a teaching study program. Like for Flanders, the admission deadlines is typically between February and March. You figured out that the academic year is starting in September, so it lets them to students 6 months to prepare the trip, and they'll be that prior to going to Belgium. Typically, every schools and every universities have the specific deadlines, so it's better when you're aiming to go to Belgium to already contact the universities and to see what are the deadlines that are there. Yeah. We also have different education programs that are delivered in English. Most of the time, all these programs are taught by the master level. We have few of them that are delivered at the bachelor degree. If you go to this website, studyinginbelgium.be, then you will see also our search engine, and by just playing with the search engine, you can figure out in your field of interest what kind of program are proposed, and whether this program can be taught either in English or in French. But most of the time, if you can't speak French, the best, I would say, period for you to come to Belgium is maybe when you reach the master level. We also have a scholarship to promote student mobilities and to welcome Indonesian students in Belgium. So we have, of course, the Erasmus Plus program that now allows 20% of every allocation given to an institution to be given to the mobility of students outside the EU. We have, of course, the excellence program of WBI, which is mainly for postdoctoral level. So, and again, this kind of application has to be sent by March. And we have specifically the RS scholarship, which is the Agency for Research and Education. And these are there are specific calls in the field of cooperation for development, where Indonesia is a partner country, and you have specific master and bachelor program, but also continuing studies program that you can find on the website. And the labeling is either in French, either in English, that will indicate you whether this master program can be taught either in English, either in French, and by that you can see whether the proposed master program or the proposed bachelor program fits with your studies and whether you would like to apply. So we have a call in November 2023. So if you're already willing to come to Belgium to next year, that might be already an opportunity to check what the RS is offering. So of course, if you need some more information, feel free to contact us at WB Campus at wbi.be or to just go through the website studyingbelgium.be. As Renilde said, we are looking forward to coming to Indonesia. It will be the first time for me as well, and I will be happy to meet you there. To go one step further and to give you, although it has been mentioned before, 5 great reasons to go to Belgium. It has been said, and I would like to repeat it, that Belgium is really located at the heart of Europe, which has a very high international exposure. So when you're in Brussels, you are 1 hour 25 from Paris, 2 hours from Brussels, and you can see, I mean, the rest. I mean, you're very close to the Netherlands, to Germany. If you drive, you can even go to Italy in one day. Of course, Brussels it's a central city of Europe, with headquarters of many international organizations like NATO, but also international companies and organizations. And of course, I mean, this is a very dynamic country in terms of employment, whether you would like to stay further in Belgium after you complete your studies. The second reason, it has been mentioned, the excellence of the higher education. So we have 6 of our universities in the top 100 of Europe's most innovative universities. We have high rate of international students, and we have many famous scientists that have been involved in very prestigious research. In terms of living costs, these are typically an estimation of the monthly living cost when you are coming to Belgium to study. So you have the different costs, accommodation, classes, food, healthcare, and public transport. So we can see that it aimed to a bit more than 18 million Indonesian rupiah. Usually, when you get a scholarship, these kind of expenses are covered. Probably not the others, but the rest, the 5 first ones. And but when you come to Belgium to study and you don't have any scholarship, you need to give evidence about some income, and usually the minimum amount you have to confirm is about 13 million Indonesian rupiah. Then, because we have, of course, an open and multicultural and international higher education system. So here you have some figures about the Belgian education system. Mainly, I would like to stress the fact that we have that most of our universities are involved in joint programs, including Erasmus Mundus, and which means that it's really a strategy of Belgium to be to have high internationalization and high student mobility inbound and outbound, to stand out outside Belgium, and also to welcome many students from the world. And that's why we have also many courses given in English, but also in other languages, to promote this mobility. And last but not least, and it has been said before, it's good to live in Belgium. We have a lot of things to rejoice. We have festivals, we have events, cultural events, musical events. You have fantastic gastronomy, and it has been acknowledged that we have one of the most a country where people are the happiest. So so we look forward to welcoming you in Belgium, and now we'd like to give the floor to the alumni to confirm by their experience what they've been living in Belgium. So I will stop sharing my screen, and perhaps I can give the floor to Mrs. Anugrah.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Anugrah, if I may interrupt just shortly, can I ask you to try to be concise and short so that we will still have time for the Q&A after also our visa information section. So please try to keep your message concise and short. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Maybe the next slide. So I'm Anugrah. Now I'm a PhD student at KU Leuven. I studied biomedical sciences in the Laboratory of Experimental Urology. Prior to coming to Belgium, I was a medical doctor and a urologist in Indonesia. I chose to study in Belgium because the centrally located of the country, and then the international atmosphere, and how research are among the best in the world. And the reason why I choose KU Leuven, because, well, it's easy. KU Leuven now is in the fourth, if I'm not mistaken, is among the 50 top university in the world, and also one of the most innovative university in Europe. And for a personal reason, my promoter is also one of the best in the field, which is a functional urologist. Regarding the admission, it was very easy. I applied the administration requirement 6 months prior of coming to Belgium, and then for the visa application, the Belgium Embassy in Jakarta also helped very much, and it was between 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And regarding the proof of solvency, I have a scholarship for the first year is from my promoter, and from the second year onwards, I received a scholarship from KU Leuven, which is a researcher from the south. This scholarship is dedicated, aim for students who are coming from the developing countries. Regarding lessons, there are for a PhD student, there is no official lessons. We learn by research, but if you want, we can also participate in a class for master student, and that is also for free, as long as your promoter permit you to do that. And for the research, I do research in daily basis. I study, my study is about how to incorporate the neuroimaging into the urological procedure. So that's what I do on daily basis. Maybe the next slide. Regarding the budget, the tuition fee for PhD student is 490 euro, paid in the first month and the last year, the last semester. However, since I got scholarship from K11, I got waiver for the tuition itself. The renting cost is also depending on your choice of accommodation. It can be around 400 to 500 euro if you choose to live in a cot or a new studio, but it can be more, like around 600 if you choose to live in an apartment. And for the cost of living, as already mentioned by Olivier, it's around, let's say 700 euro per month will be good enough for you. But it also depends on how your lifestyle. And health insurance is around 10 euro per month, but you can also like have an added at an insurance like extra benefit that can cost up to 20 euro extra. But it's still very, very affordable compared to if what I say insurance system in Indonesia. Regarding life research studies, Belgium has a very, very good nature. So I usually travel in the weekend either to go just hiking, and then I carry Leuven also over many sports club. I myself participate in a caving club. Yeah, and then there are many international students in the Leuven. So yeah, that many of them like becomes very, very good friends and even like a family. And why I recommend Belgium as a study destination? Because living in Belgium is great. How people here interact with you, how helpful people here, and how they can open your mindset about everything, about not only your study, your research, but also how you view the international environment is also, I think, uh, it's a good model for you to to uh, to work further. I think that's it for me.
Okay, hello everyone. Okay, Sarah, Mr. Olivier, is it my time to speak right now? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We can hear you. We can see your presentation. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Miss Sarah and Mr. Olivier for inviting me. So my name is Agni Saraswati, and I participated in a program called Asem Duo Fellowship Program in Liège. So you could see the School of Arts here in the photograph, and also this is the map, Liège, which is very close to Maastricht. And I went there on April to May, so which is a very short time. And the next slide, please. So as I'm a visual artist and also a lecturer and also art manager, so I was invited to make some of activities in Liège in that School of Arts. I did some of presentation to the student in painting department and art history class. So the first topic is about my art practice and my works, and then the second one is about the Indonesian art history and contemporary art in Yogyakarta. And then this is some of the images of the puppet workshop that I also did with the students in that department. So I asked them to make some of figures, and then they explained about each figure for 5 minutes. And then The next slide, please. Okay, so this is the motivation for coming to Belgium because my background is an artist, so I find it Belgium is very interesting place to visit because there are many good infrastructures. There are many museums, as you can see that some of them are comic museum in Brussels and also La Bouverie private museum, and also there are many artists there, such as Jules Remy that created Tintin, and also James Ensor, and there are many other. And you could also find lots of good food and lots of interesting things to see. And the outcome of my visit is that I have a very good collaboration with the school, and we are planning to have a student exchange and lecturer exchange program, and also some of internship for the students from Belgium to Indonesia. And I'm very thankful and I'm very grateful to participate in this program. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Agni or Saraswati. Not sure how I have to call you. Thank you for the testimonies of both PhD student and visiting artist, as I may put it like that. Thank you also, Renilde and Olivier, for your presentations. So we are going to have a Q&A in a few minutes, but first we will have a short explanation by our consul, Ms. Anne Coutel, a consul at the embassy here in Jakarta, explaining about the process applying for a study visa. Um, so please keep your questions until after that session. You can already start posting them in the chat. I've seen some questions appear in the chat, so do not hesitate to post other questions in the chat as well, and we will come to those in a few minutes. So I will first now give the floor to my colleague Anne to talk about study visa first. Please, Anne, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to share the screen.
While we are waiting for Anne to share her screen, I can maybe remind you again of the fact that both Renilde and Olivier will be in Jakarta in a few weeks. So I will also remind you of that later with the dates and the cities that they will visit. And by now, Anne, yes, we can see your screen, or at least it's coming.
Okay.
Yes, there it is.
Yep. All right, thank you. Because it's a bit strange, I cannot see you anymore, but anyhow, good afternoon or good morning to everybody. I'm Anne Coutel, as I was introduced by my colleague. I'm the consul here since 2 years in Jakarta. So we were on this webinar last year, and I can say that the student visa applications that we received this year were apparently all made by students that were listening to to the webinar last year, because they were really very well done. So I think I will go briefly to these few points of attention that may make the process smooth and have it done fluently without a lot of problems. So yeah, whoops. If you have been admitted, does it go to the second slide?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, I'm trying. How do I go to a second slide? Sorry for that.
So as I was saying, Olivier and Renilde will be in Jakarta, Surabaya, and Bandung at the European Higher Education Fair. It will be organized in November. So we can have your questions later in the Q&A, but we can also, or you can pose your questions directly live to Renilde and Olivier when they attend the European Higher Education Fairs in November. That is 8th and 9th in Surabaya, 11th and 12th in Jakarta, and the 14th in Bandung. And now we have Anne's slide on the screen. So Anne, I think you're good to go.
Okay, so yeah, thank you and sorry for the interruption. So yeah, basically, if you have been admitted to a Belgian university, you have been receiving a lot of inputs, and I also noted the admission process is quite early in the year. As soon as you got this admission letter, you can basically start your visa process. We need to see in your visa application the admission letter that must clearly mention the program that you're admitted to and the school year. Then another important thing, you may not lose it maybe out of sight, your passport. Your passport needs to be valid at least 1 year ahead. So if you, at the time of the application of the visa process, it needs to be at least 12 months valid. It also needs to contain at least 2 blank pages so that we can put the visa sticker in it and that you have some stamps from the in and out of the airports. And also, especially for a few slots of Indonesian passports, make sure that your passport contains your signature. And there are some slots of passports who do not have the passport signature page on the last page. In that case, you have to do a little validation by the immigration office. So that is for a few passport slots that do not have the passport signature page. You have been hearing estimates of living costs. So you will need some financial means to be in Belgium. And we need to see a proof of your financial means in the visa process. There are 3 ways to prove your financial solvency. There is the blocked account. So a number of universities, they do give this opportunity, this possibility. You send them money and they open an account for you and they give the certificate. That's good for us in your visa application. You can have a scholarship that will also be a good enough proof of financial solvency. And the third option is that you have a sponsor and that you will fill in a bijlage or the Annex 32. Whereas the 2 first options, they will be very specific, and we can check if you have the minimum amount that is required, which is for this current academic year, 789 euros per month. Whereas those 2 will be clear, the sponsor, the bijlage Annex 32, will not have the amount of your sponsor. So in that case, we will need some more documents. It's a bit more complicated. So if you have a sponsor, there are some conditions that the sponsor must fulfill about his membership, family membership with you, or about his nationality. But also he must be minimum 18 years old. He must prove his kinship if it is a family member, and he needs to prove its regular and sufficient revenue. So this year, that would be a revenue of 2,797 euros per month per person that he sponsors. So we will ask some documentation to verify if the sponsor disposes of these revenues, and then we can approve the Annex 32 as being sufficiently solvent. Then the medical insurance, it used to be an important document of the visa file. However, it is not mandatory anymore. But of course, it is very important to think about a medical insurance. You may have unforeseen situations and you would not like to be without an insurance. We give you some options. The Schengen travel insurance is very easy to conclude. But also the Belgian and the EU scholarships will always provide medical insurance. Also the Indonesian scholarships that we see, they also include the insurance policy. And in the mobility program, there is this European health insurance card. So even if it is not a real mandatory document for the visa file, don't forget it, don't get it out of sight. Then some other mandatory documents. So there are the latest diplomas that we need to see the copies. We do not require apostille for the visa process, but you may need them for university to finalize your inscription with them. So you have to verify that with them. We do need a police record, and that should have a apostille. And we do need a medical certificate. If you do it at one of the doctors that is accredited by our embassy, there is no apostille needed. Then there are some costs on the visa fee and on the visa process. So there is the contribution fee that needs to be paid in Belgium to the competent authority. That is 228 euros this year when you study in a public institution, or a bit less if you study in a private institution. And then at the embassy, you will be asked to pay the handling fee, which is right now 180 euros, and we will convert that at the exchange rate that is applicable. We have made these checklists so that you can come really very well prepared with the day that you have your appointment for the visa application. So you will find this on our website. This is a checklist that you can really carefully follow. There are the blue things. There are links to further readings to explain as good as possible the things you need to provide. And you can find it on our website. You can find the checklist. You can find the process to register yourself to come to the visa appointments. We will say apply in time, and you can apply as soon as 6 months before your planned departure, and please minimum 3 weeks before, for the latest minimum 3 weeks before the intended day of departure. Then it can go smoothly and without any hassle. So I said already, you can register via the visa on web. You will register your file, and in the last step of that registration, you can take your appointment to come to the embassy. We will receive your file. We will take the biometric data, and then if the files are nicely presented, you will have the visa very rapidly. Once you are back home, I think you have been talking about that. I would like to invite you again. You can join the Alumni Belgia network, and then you are part of this big family of people that have studied in Belgium. Just one last comment for the record. So this year we have almost all student visa have been processed. We were very busy as from May, June, July, August. And we have had a total of 146 visa that were processed at our embassy. That's all for me. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Anne. I would already want to ask you two questions, Anne, because we already have 2 visa questions in the chat, and then we will take the other questions that have already been posted in the chat that are for Olivier and Renilde. But one of the visa questions, Anne, is if you come to Belgium on a family reunion visa, are you then allowed to study in Belgium? That's the first question. The second question is, can you apply for a student visa while bringing also your spouse? So co-applicants in the process of the student visa. So maybe you can already take these 2 questions.
Yeah, so if you are already in Belgium on a family reunion visa, that means you have done a visa for long stay. So that can be processed at the level of the commune where you are registered. And then you will have to to provide the documents and the justification of your staying and of your financial means, and they will treat it. They will send it to the competent authority, which is the Ministry of Interior. If you are in Indonesia, you want to go studying in Belgium together with your family, that is possible, but we have to submit those files to Brussels for approval. So that's not a problem, but that's just a procedure. So it may take a little longer because it has to go through Brussels for approval. The normal files we can handle them here, and they can be done quicker.
Okay, thank you. And maybe a last question also in the chat on visa related to sponsors. So somebody asks, I want to be a sponsor. Do I also need to have an income of €2,779 minimum a month if I also provide housing for the visa applicants?
Yes, the rules on the sponsors are very clear, and there is they have to be able to income from a salary. You can have regular income for renting. It will deduct of the minimum to prove.
Okay, thank you, Anne, for those clarifications. Now I would like to take some questions in the chat for either Renilde or Olivier. There was a question already early on related to nursing training. Are there opportunities or specific programs for nursing? I don't know if this is Renilde or Olivier who can take that question.
Yes, I can take the question. We have, of course, different levels of nursing training. The full nursing training program is an exception to the bachelor duration. It's a 4-year program, 240 credits, and it's fully taught in Dutch, or there is one program here in Brussels, which is a bit of a multilingual program, but still a lot of Dutch in there. We do have preparatory Dutch courses. This is also possible. You can get a visa for a 1-year language preparation year, but the admission to this language preparation year, which is closed, to make sure that you will actually get to the right Dutch level in 1 year. So there the universities are very strict, but once you have the admission, you can do the same kind of visa application at the embassy and then study the nursing program. But we do have a lack of nurses. That's also true. So if you feel like you can enter in these requirements, then you are very welcome to come.
Okay, thank you. There was also another question related to housing, whether students need to look for housing themselves or whether the university organizes university housing.
I would
I'm
say it
looking at
depends of
Olivier or...
the, yeah, I can answer. I think it really depends of the university of the or the institutions. Usually universities might have few dormitories, but definitely it's not enough to host every international students. So most of the time, I mean, you have to find your accommodation on your own. And it's more like let's say on a personal network that you can do it. But many cities, if I take for example Louvain-la-Neuve, have many dormitories, but it's independently from the university that can find a place. So there are a lot, but they are not always managed by the universities.
Okay, we also had a question on living costs, but Renilde has already answered that. So approximate living cost per month, 1,000 euros. And as Anne explained, the minimum for the visa calculation is 789 currently, but that is adapted every year, so it might be a little different next year. There's also a question in the chat on how to find a job after studying and having a professional degree in medicine or maybe as a lawyer, where can there be information on working after obtaining your degree in Belgium, and also a question on specializations and information to be found on that. So maybe also for Renilde or Olivier.
Yes, I can take the question about working after your studies. So a lot of study programs, they organize for the last year students, so all kinds of job information fairs already, also for the Belgian students, and how it really, how to say, studying and developing your research and academic skills is one thing, but then applying for a job is again another kind of skill, and it depends on the field. It's probably is a bit different in the business field and in the STEM field, for example. So they probably do have some information sessions on how to make your CV and how to apply, or what kind of tests to expect in this field. That's one thing. Another thing is our Flemish Agency of Employment. They do have a service for international talent, let's say, who studied here or who are here already on our job market. And they also provide some assistance, I would say, for you to know how the culture is in a certain sector of work. And they always tell us, please tell all the international students who will graduate and plan to stay in Belgium to come and register with us as soon as they can, so we can integrate them in our guidance program to find their way. Because it's, of course, we have a lack of certain profiles, but also it is a bit of a culture how to apply for a job, and that I would say you should start to get yourself familiar with during the studies already.
Okay,
Yes,
so a few people are
yeah.
asking whether the video recording will be available. It will be available on the website of the embassy on our YouTube page. So just mentioning that for all the people that are asking. And Olivier, you wanted to add something to Renilde's answer?
Yes, just to complete, and probably Anne can confirm that when you get a long-term visa for your study in Belgium, you can have an extra year to look for a job after you complete your studies. So that also gives you some time to move from, say, an academic life to towards a more professional life. And also regarding looking for employment, although Belgium is very open-minded, international, I mean, the main languages of the countries remain the French and Dutch, and if you are not speaking any of these two languages, it might be difficult to find a job, or say a stable job. So if your ambition is to stay in Belgium a bit longer after you study, I think don't underestimate the learning of one of the two languages.
Okay, so another question was somebody asking, they're currently in a bachelor program, can they still apply for a bachelor in Belgium? Not sure whether they mean time-wise, is it still possible to apply now? Or whether it's possible to go for a bachelor after already having a bachelor degree?
Yes, this is totally possible. It all depends, of course, which study field. If you will study in a similar study field, you could even send your transcripts and see if you can get any credits you don't have to take again. If the study field is completely different, then of course you will do the full bachelor program again. But yes, this is possible. And as I explained, we also have the advanced bachelors. So very often they are 1-year programs where you do still then get another bachelor degree at the end. But then, of course, it has to be related to your previous degree. If you are in the middle of the bachelor and you're thinking of not finishing it, then of course it will be harder to get to transfer your credit, and it's not impossible, but it's very rare. Then it has to be really a very good match with the study program you choose here in Belgium.
Okay, thank you, Renilde. There's a very specific question for Olivier. Does studying in French in Belgium requires a diploma or DELF or DALF among the documents to furnish to be admitted in a Belgian Francophone university?
I guess it's a case-to-case issue. I don't think it might be necessary for universities, although most of the time the courses are mainly given in French at the bachelor level. So if you are coming to Belgium or French-speaking Belgium to study, let's say for a master degree or for a doctoral degree, definitely you might not need these certificates. But from some specific schools, and it's a case to case, so you need to inquire to the school you are aiming at. They might be requiring it, but it's not always the case.
Okay, there's a follow-up question on housing. So whether we can provide some legitimate websites where students usually find housing. I can maybe also answer that it's best once you have chosen your university to contact the university student services. They have a broader range of information on housing and other topics, and they can guide you to either database or other platforms where you can find safe housing. I'm checking whether there are other questions in the chat. Yes, there's a question for Anne, but I'm going to take the other question first about summer school program. Maybe Olivier and Hilde can say something about summer school programs and how it is funded, or how you can fund it. Maybe Renilde first. Any summer schools, or Olivier?
Yes. So
Yes. Okay, Olivier,
as far
go
as
ahead.
I can know about the summer school so far, it's either it's short-term program that are usually negotiated between institutions. So it's something that can be ascribed in the Erasmus Plus program and the negotiation you have between education institutions, where one Indonesian institution and one Belgian institution decide to promote mobility between each other, and among which they propose, short-term stay and summer school program. So it can be a case-to-case study, a case-to-case issue between two schools. I don't think there are specific scholarship, or at least I'm not aware about scholarship for summer school program for Indonesian students. Actually, I'm working. My office is in Tokyo, in Japan, and in Tokyo, in Japan, we have one scholarship for summer school, but it has been developed on a specific in a specific situation where it was a kind of a contest in French in French that was granted. The winner was granted a summer school. A scholarship for a summer school. But I'm not aware about any so far in Indonesia.
Yes, on the Flemish side, we do have summer schools also in our program tool. So if you go on the website studyinflanders.be/programs and you fill out summer schools, you find some programs, same system, you click on them and you land on the page of the institution who organizes them. And there, it really depends on the program. Some programs will be just organized by the university, and they have to cover all the costs by the tuition fees of the students. But some are also funded by us. They can apply for funding for summer schools from us, and then in many cases they use it to, for example, waive the participation fee of the student. But then still, of course, you have your travel cost or the cost of your stay. So it depends on the program you choose and how they are funded.
Okay, thank you. Maybe one last question, and that one is for Anne, asking for more information on the blocked account procedure.
Well, that is actually an initiative from most of the universities. So you really have to contact their administration. You can Google, if you Google block account on University of Antwerp, you will get some information. So basically, you have to ask if you're eligible to open a blocked account, and they will do so once it is once your admission is approved. So you will then send a sum of money, and then they will give that amount of money to you once you're in Belgium on a regular basis. So they will define a monthly return to you. All the money you've sent them will be given back to you in this manner. They normally apply a little administrative fee for doing this, for giving you this service. And the advantage is that certificate of blocked account is enough to prove your financial solvency in the visa application, which is more easy. It's really easier than all the documentation we are asking in case with the sponsor.
Okay, thank you, Am. I hope you can still hear me because I seem to have troubles with my connection. There is one last question. Okay, great. There's one last question related to delays in obtaining stay permit from local authorities. Maybe I can also add to that question. So when you come to Belgium with your student visa, then you will have to register in your local commune, and then they will transfer your student visa into a stay permit for the period of your study. This process can take a while, and it takes different periods of time depending on the commune where you are, and also depending on the volume of international students that are waiting in line to get this procedure done. So I don't think we can give you exact amounts of time or tips to do this. You just need to go through the process, and it can differ time-wise between communes. I think we have reached the end of our webinar. As I said, the webinar has been recorded and will be available on the YouTube page of the Embassy in Jakarta, and you can find also the link to our YouTube page on our website. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have closed my video because of connection problems, so you cannot see me anymore. So I would like to also recall that Belgium will be present at the European Higher Education Fair, where you can again ask questions. Please make sure also to fill in the attendance list that has been circulating in the chat, because then we can also contact you and hand over contact information to Study in Flanders and Wallonie-Bruxelles if you allow us to do so, to receive more updates. And I would just like to thank all the speakers today, from Alumni Belgia, PPI Belgia, Study in Flanders, Wallonie-Bruxelles campus, and of course the ambassador and my colleague Anne, and thanking all the participants for joining. I hope we were able to give you clear information, and I hope it has raised your spirits to come and study in Belgium. So thank you all for being here, and we hope to see you soon, either at the EHF Fair or maybe even in Belgium. So thank you and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good evening to all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.